This podcast is here to uplift, encourage, and support all people to create and build a community surrounding their goals, discover new talents, and learn new life skills. Period, point blank. Welcome to SisHearMeOut the podcast. This is your big sis Sterling. You can find me on all platforms at Sterling TV. Welcome to the show where we're doing it and we're doing it big. All right, guys. So we have our first interview today. I'm super excited. Today we're gonna. He's from Chile, raised in Africa. His accolades is that he has a hit called Our Generation. It was a campaign against communists. So today we're going to talk about his book, and we're just going to talk about his life and how he grew up and his motivation and everything like that. So today we're going to bring in Christian. I'm really excited to talk to him. We're going to start off with how he grew up. So Christian, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sterling. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay, so I want to ask you, how did you grow up, and how has that affected your life today?
I had a very weird childhood and youth because I just happened to be, sort of the product of a lot of things that are outside of my control, right? Circumstances. So I grew up in Chile. My dad's Chilean, my mom's Russian. We moved then there was a lot of drama in there, military coup, we were refugees. We ended up in Germany. Yeah. Then we went back to Russia, where my mom is from, to the Soviet Union at the time. Mm-hmm. And then we experienced a lot of poverty there. Everybody's poor, though, so we're not the only poor. Everybody's poor. Yeah. So then we ended up going to Africa. My dad got a contract there as an expat guy. He's an engineer. And I grew up in Africa, so for 7 years. So it was a very fragmented youth. So I basically changed 3 continents and 4 countries by age 7.
Wow.
And we went back to Russia after my parents divorced. I was 14 years old. So after growing up in Africa, another culture shock is now you're raised by a single mom.
Yeah.
And in this 1-bedroom apartment, me and my sister and my mom, and I slept in the kitchen for years. And it was a rough youth. And then in my 20s, I got my education, and sort of things changed because I became very successful as a musician there, and did millions of albums, entertained millions of people, millions of sales in albums, millions of people entertained, and TV, radio, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it was it's a very, very strange, full of twists and turns kind of life. And, to your question, how did that help me?
Yeah.
I think it really helps you be okay with risk, be okay with difficulty, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Challenges and instability. And I think in general, that's a huge blessing, because if you want to build anything, you have to risk something, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So now, when we moved to the U.S., I built a nonprofit, a big sort of musical entertainment thing back in Russia. When we moved to the U.S., I've been able to sort of do small businesses, but back to back to back. So 3 businesses, 2 nonprofits, and the reason why I was able to do that, I think it's because of that early childhood full of risk-taking problems, et cetera, so you're not afraid of them.
Yes. And so, tell us about specific moments in your upbringing in Chile, and then your move to Africa, and just 3 core memories that you feel like you just is on your brain constantly.
Okay, so I'll tell you 3. You asked for 3, I'll tell you 3. My first childhood memory. My dad was imprisoned there. They imprisoned tens of thousands of people. They put them in these soccer stadiums, like concentration camps. So my first childhood memory is standing outside of one of those, holding my mom's hand, and she was trying to pass food through a guard to my dad. So that was one. And that sticks with you, right? It sticks with you, makes an impression, especially if it's a first memory.
Yeah.
The second one I will pick is I was getting on a plane. I was 7 years old. I was getting on a plane to go to Africa from Russia. And it was just so jarring. I was very sick in Russia, almost died. And my dad went ahead. My mom basically was going to wait for a few months or even a year to join with us, the kids, but I was so sick. I had all kinds of like lung issues because of the weather. So she's like, I'm going to send him over or he'll die here, basically. So she sends me over alone. I was 7 years old.
Oh my God.
To a different continent. And I remember walking, at the time they didn't have those things where you walk straight into the plane. You have to walk through the big sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there was a blizzard, literally a blizzard. I'm walking, there's a blizzard, snow, I'm super cold, I'm coughing, I'm still sick.
Yeah.
And I got on a plane, and then, 20 hours later or something like that, they opened the doors. So obviously it's the opposite pole, right? So if it's winter in Europe, it's summer in Africa.
Oh my God.
So they opened the door, and it's this warm, mid-tropical air. You know how it smells different even? So I just remember the contrast of that, right? I'm like, I walk out and,
wow,
I'm in the airport and everybody looks different. I'm around basically a bunch of white people in Russia. There's pretty much nothing else.
Right.
Very little else, let's put it that way. And then I've never seen a black person in my life. I'm Latino, right? So it's like a different world. Everybody speaks a language that I don't understand. So that's the second memory. The third memory that stands out was the first time I was on stage. I was working towards becoming a professional singer, and I got some gigs here and there. But sort of the first one where I was a lead singer, and it was televised.
Wow.
And, now you have YouTube. Televised means something, but it's not like this massive deal. At the time, it was like there's no internet, right? So if you're televised, it means... yeah, like millions of people will see you. So and it was basically they were recording this live show in the sports arena with a bunch of artists back to back to back to back, and an artist got 2 or 3 songs. I think it was 2 songs we had, and the first time I come on stage and we have backup dancers, musicians, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it was just surreal because I've dreamt about this like 1,000 times since I was a kid, and now I'm on TV and there's 10,000 people in the audience, millions of people watching.
Yeah.
And you're performing for the first time. And I think you can never forget that moment when you get that this is the first opportunity you have to do something this big.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Those are the 3.
That's so awesome. I love that. I love that for you. Like, I couldn't imagine being I'm a performer too, so I've been in front of people, but like, I'd be like,
yeah.
Okay, and so to talk a little bit more about your music career, so how did you get that started? Like, you...
Very slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very slowly and very persistently. So I was just, first of all, I wasn't even that good, and at first, but you get better and you audition and you get better. You get a lot of rejections and you hang out with people. I was trying to get myself into the circles of people who were in entertainment, basically.
Yeah.
I made friends with some musicians, so I would get invited to parties where people like that hang out. And then, it's just small bits by bits like that. And then eventually, A, you get a little bit better. B, you get a chance, right? And so when people want to start their own business, for example, or start a career, whatever, I basically say to them, look, you're going to be you'll get your chance. And you'll probably get more than one. Right? You'll get several chances, big, basically breaks. And the trick to success in business, in entertainment, and anything like that, even love, actually, is that you prepare. You get yourself to a place where you are worthy of the opportunity. Because the opportunity will absolutely come your way. And the opportunity will either reveal you or expose you.
That's tea, y'all. That's tea.
So yeah, and if the opportunity will come and you're revealed to the world as something valuable, then that's it. That's your shot.
Yeah.
If you're exposed as somebody who's just not worthy of people's attention and time, then till next time.
Right.
So when people think, hey, I don't have money, time, opportunity, that's not how you should think.
Right.
You'll get your opportunity. You'll either be revealed or exposed. Get yourself ready. So it's the first thing, not the second thing.
That is amazing. Because honestly, I needed to hear that too. It's like that moment where you're just like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, You know, and it's a lot of networking, it seems like. It
Yeah.
seems like it's just a lot of networking.
Yes. You're one
And
conversation away from your big break. One conversation. That's
yes,
true.
yes, okay. Okay, and that motivates me here because honestly, when I'm on TikTok lives, but guys, when you see me on TikTok lives, I constantly am talking because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit there on my phone. I'm gonna engage and be with people because it is important. It's important talking to people and they see your personality and like how interested you are in what you want to do. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's transition into your book.
The book. Okay.
Yes, your book. Okay, so go ahead, like, and tell us about it and how it came about and how excited you are.
Well, the book's called Little Book of Big Reasons to Love America.
Yes.
And it's just that. It's basically a list of, it's 10 chapters, 10 reasons to love America, but it's from the perspective of an immigrant. So
Mm.
I've loved America since I was like 9, right?
Yeah.
Growing up in all very distant places and very just completely different societies. And I just gleamed into America from TV shows and books and this and that and music. And I would be like, man, there's this place called America and it's crazy amazing, right? And
Yeah.
I'll never be able to have this kind of opportunity. And eventually, of course, now I've lived here for 20 years. But the reason I wrote the book initially was because when I moved to the States, I married an American. We lived actually in Russia for a long time, in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And we moved only because of other issues, right? It wasn't really. By then, I had a pretty big brand in all of
Yeah.
that Russia, Ukraine area space. So there's no reason for me to move to the States because I have
Right.
brand recognition over there.
You're already good. Yeah, you're already
Yeah, so I'm a sort of a big deal, right? So and we had to move eventually for health issues and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to start over here, which was kind of humbling. But when I did move, I remember I would say to Deb, "Hey, you don't understand how amazing this is and that is, and about freedom of speech, about not being afraid of the government, about infrastructure, about creativity and
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, how the culture is essentially primed for that, about sort of the family values, for example, right?
Yeah.
Or the moral, sort of almost like the average moral framework of people. People are generally
Mm.
speaking nice and honest and all of that.
Yeah.
There's always sort of people on the fringes, but generally speaking, people are, they have integrity, right?
Right.
In America compared to many other places. So I would just make those comments to Deb, and she's like, these are really, really valuable insights from an immigrant. You should write it down because, people are pretty down on America these days, right? And I felt that way. I felt, I think I would, if somebody in the audience are immigrants just like me, put in the comments and amen to this, right? Because I can guarantee you when the culture shifts against itself, right? Almost like
Yeah.
a self-loathing type cultural shift in America, those of us who are here who came from nothing, we're actually insulted by that. We're offended by that. We're like, are you serious? Like, how can you be so ungrateful? so if you're an
Yes.
immigrant, say amen. But the point is, yeah, that's just how we feel. I feel like do you have nothing better to do with your life than to poo-poo your own country? And do you not know that maybe 70% of the world lives literally under some sort of authoritarian regime, something
Right.
tyrannical? 70% today, not yesterday, not 100 years ago.
Right.
And obviously, it's good to criticize your country. That's part of actually what democracy
Growth.
is.
Yeah.
But that's different. I think that's great to criticize, and it's very healthy. I think what's not healthy is when there's sort of this sweeping statements about, I'm going to leave the country, the sky is falling. Like, you know what? And here's what I say to somebody's like, first of all, they never mean that, right?
Yeah.
Like, good luck. Yeah, you do that.
Right. With all the interesting stuff happening
Yeah,
elsewhere.
out there. Yeah. Just you do that. Give yourself a year just to sober up just a teeny tiny bit, right?
That's funny because that's so true. It's like when you're in, like you said, when you're in a whole nother space, it's humbling.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people that say that, they don't really mean it. Honestly, if they meant it, they would have moved a long time ago.
Right.
But it's like, but the whole self-loathing culture really bothers me. And I
Mm.
wanted to write an optimistic book. So it's a very optimistic book. It's 10 chapters. There's all kinds of like crazy stories from all over the world because
Oh
I've
wow.
lived
Love that.
I've lived through some crazy stuff. Like 3 lifetimes in one. So archival pictures. So it's very colorful. It's like a coffee table book.
Beautiful. I'm gonna get
And
it. So
yeah, please
y'all
do.
better get it. I'm not playing.
Yeah, easy to read. You can read it in about 3.5 hours. It's like it's full of really cool stories and insights, and it's 10 chapters, 10 reasons to love America, an
Yeah.
optimistic book, basically. Yeah.
I'm so excited. No, and that's so awesome because I was literally going to ask you because I was watching one of your videos and you were saying how like it's so frustrating hearing other people like
Yeah, yeah,
just be so mad at America and you're just like, "Bro, what?"
yeah.
Because I work for public health actually.
Okay.
And so I see a lot of refugees and people coming in, needing help and stuff like that. And they're kind of just like, "You guys are blessed." Like,
Yeah, seriously.
and we're over here complaining 24/7 like, oh what? Like,
Yeah. Oh no,
but
I know.
it is humbling seeing people come over and they're telling you about their stories and what they've been through and how they even got here and how they're
Oh my
trying to
gosh. Yeah.
seek aid and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so it's beautiful to hear their
Mm-hmm.
story, but it also it like checks you a little bit like, okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
maybe I need to chill out. It's not that deep, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
keep pushing in different ways. Keep pushing, build your community, make the communities better, like very small. So that's awesome. Okay, so in like right now, like what are you currently doing right now that you're trying to like get out there? Like
Mm-hmm.
what's your vibes right now? What's going
Right
on?
now, I am focusing on my company called Exponential Life, and it's basically a coaching company. And
Okay.
we coach people, professionals who want to build a personal brand.
Mm,
And basically, it's just the best time, literally, in the history of humanity to do that. It's the biggest amplifier of influence you can possibly have. And if you're not building a personal brand, then you want to be serious about serving more people in more places. You probably should look into it, right? And
mm-hmm,
so it can
mm-hmm.
change your life. And honestly, I really do believe in that wholeheartedly because, look, if you think about it from a historical perspective,
Yeah.
literally for the most of the human history, you were born and you died in the same social state you're in or profession, right?
Yes.
So you are a peasant, you are a craftsman, you are aristocracy, you're a warrior clan, you're a priest. That's it. For most of human history, people you're
Right.
born into that and you die there, right? That's
Right.
it. Then
Right.
in the 19th century, this is on the 20th century rather, the Industrial Revolution came about.
Yep.
And you can then and it accelerate like it was insane for those in historical moments in historical
Yeah.
on the landscape of history is you can go from one class to another in one generation,
Mm.
right? So you're a peasant, you go to the city, you start working in a factory, your kids can go to a school, maybe go to some sort of low level college or become a craftsman of
Right.
some sort. So then your kid's probably going to have a better life, right?
Yep.
In the 2025, you can change your life in a matter of months
Yeah.
because you develop a service or product that can serve anyone anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that to develop a personal brand is that you are known for something, right?
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you don't need even 10 million people to follow you. Like back in the day when I was a musician, I had millions of fans.
Right.
You don't need that.
Right.
You don't need you need a few thousand people from anywhere in the world. And as a matter of fact, you can get a few million people to be fans of yours
Yeah,
for
exactly.
cheap. If you just decide how you're going to distinguish yourself, how you're going to serve, you're going to show up, you're going to create a service or a product that is competitive,
Mm.
solve somebody's problem. If you invest in creating content, writing something,
Yes.
showing up, and basically expressing how you want to solve problems at a different level.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what we're doing. I'm very passionate about it because it's a great time to be alive.
That's awesome. I love that because now you're building a whole nother generation of people who like
Yeah,
understand that
yeah,
there is, you can do something with your life. You can do something besides do corporate or,
and you can change. That's the thing. Like just 100 years ago, you can't change. Like
right.
your kids can pick something else,
That-
maybe, maybe. In the 21st century, 2025, you can do one thing, then a second, then a third, in a matter of months or years, right?
yeah,
And no one can stop
literally.
you. You don't have to ask permission. like it's amazing, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
You're like,
amazing.
it's the best you can get.
It doesn't get better than that. Like, I mean, it just does not get better than that, right? So, uh, the best way to do it is to show up and express your views on
Yeah.
whatever, or do something with your hands if you want, if it's a product, or create something that's unique. And I think it's just the most amazing thing. It's amazing
Yeah.
time to be alive. And I mean, and to me, the reason why I love what I'm doing now, I built several, small businesses over time, is that it's almost like this full circle for me, because my very first career success was
Yeah.
building a personal brand.
Love that.
That was my first one. And it did real well. So I have it almost like in my blood, right? And I did it for other people. I've coached Olympic athletes and artists, and, I created, even produced other bands that became very successful. So I just feel like I love doing that, helping somebody become confident, understand exactly what they have to offer to the world, and then put it out there in a specific way that can, you have to productize your skills, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And most people don't know how to productize their skills because their skills feel so familiar that they don't feel valuable.
Yep. Exactly.
That's sort of usually the case. So most people underestimate the value they can bring to the marketplace. They just don't understand what they have, right? And it's fun to sort of help somebody, slowly reveal the treasure, right? And they go, "Oh my gosh, I can do this? Yes, I can."
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool exercise.
Oh, seeing that growth in them, and like you're
Yeah.
almost like fishing out like what is already there.
Totally. It's always there. It's always there. It's like I'm not adding anything. I'm just helping you discover it, basically.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that, and that's good. Some people need that push and that confidence.
Yeah.
I was definitely one of those people. At first, I was like, with this whole podcast thing, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, this sounds like a lot of work, editing. Like, what? Like, I don't know if I can do all that.
Yeah.
That's too much for me.
Look at you do it, right? So
And then
it's
I'm
great.
trying, exactly. I tried, but there was people that had to be like, Taji, do it. You can do it. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Like, I'll start with one thing. And I wasn't even on this platform first. This is Riverside, by the way, guys, if you don't know. And I was on another platform, and I had to figure out how to edit there. Like, it does take a couple steps to like perfect things and stuff like that. I'm even still perfecting, but it's just like, yeah, that's awesome that you're doing that for people. Really. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to figure out. I feel like I want to ask a million questions. I know we don't have as much time. There was a time I was watching your YouTube, and you were saying how there was like suppression of thought and truth and censorship. How do you feel like the people who are feeling that here in America,
hmm
what would you say to them for that, about censorship and
I would say, look, the First Amendment is what made America an extraordinary country. It's a key pillar concept, right?
yeah.
That you have freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and I think it's just, if that's either diminished or corroded, you should fight it. You should push back.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
think most countries on the planet, and I would say it's literally more than half, it's 70+%, where they have authoritarian regimes, there's some version of censorship in those places.
Right.
And the minute you take away the opportunity for people to express themselves freely, you are now killing the culture
Right.
and removing vitality, creativity, and innovation from it. So I think that should not be tolerated in America at all, basically.
Yeah. And when you see like people hold back, you just tell them to like, no, say what you gotta say, say what you gotta say, let everybody hear you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's awesome that you're doing that in your book. You're telling us about situations that are gonna, that are like not translated, but how you're making that almost like a pillar of
Yeah.
like, we're better. Like, you guys have the opportunity to
Yeah.
say what you need to say and do what you need. Yeah, exactly.
We're better
And
than
like,
that. Yeah, we're better than that. In America, we're better than that.
exactly.
We should not. I understand, obviously, that, look, if I say anything, I will offend somebody.
Yeah.
right? But that's
True.
just the price of freedom. The price of freedom is I have the freedom, the ability, and also will deal with the consequences if I offend somebody.
Right. Seriously. Yeah.
But I should be able to offend somebody, and you should be able to offend somebody, and we should. And I think with like 99% of the things that we can talk about, even on the show,
Right.
Taji, I can say something that you go, I'm not feeling that, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I
Like
can
it's
say
okay.
anything, and you can disagree, and you go, I have a different angle. That's it. That's it.
It's a
Just talk it.
conversation.
It's just a conversation, right? So,
100%.
you should be able to express yourself.
Yeah. Cause at first, I'm not gonna lie, when I heard you say like, I hate when Americans be like, this country is terrible. My initial reaction was like, what? It is. It does suck. There are some things that are like
Yeah, of course.
really
Yeah.
bad. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Like, it's true. Like, there's things that are going on in our country that we can change very small. In other places, you can't even do half of the things we're doing here. So,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
yeah. So
And it doesn't mean you
that,
don't
that,
yeah, it doesn't mean you don't criticize, right? Like
exactly.
you're like I don't have any illusions about that. I mean,
Yeah.
you're African American, you know what your ancestors went through in this
Right.
country, right?
Right.
I'm Chilean. Literally, the military coup that I was telling you about, that my dad was in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
Thankfully he's alive, but many people didn't make it out.
Right.
That whole thing was orchestrated by the CIA out of America.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know exactly the bad stuff that America has done. Okay, so I was literally on the receiving end of this thing. I became an exile because of it,
Right.
Like kicked out
Right.
of our own country, uprooted completely.
Right.
So I know I've experienced, not only do I know intellectually, I've actually experienced the bad side of America.
Right.
My point is, you criticize that, but you don't just throw away the whole thing, right?
Right. And live in it. And live in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is one of the most prosperous countries on earth. You have opportunities
True.
here that most people will never dream of.
Yeah.
Like if you live in America and you have like a middle class income, like just basic, nothing fancy, you're literally in the top 1% of the richest people on earth
Which is crazy.
right now. Like right now.
Yeah.
And not only right now, you're one of the most rich people in the history of humanity. So, like, you have to take that into consideration, okay?
Right.
Like, when you criticize your own country, like, just a little correction in that direction, going, okay,
Christian said lock in, y'all.
yeah, like, seriously, like, just a little perspective, okay?
I'm cracking up because that's so true. We're so limited. Like, our mind is so like this
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
don't really recognize like what a blessing we have literally every single day, like,
yeah.
and how we're living.
Yeah, like, and people, I mean, I talk to my dad all the time. Like, he's a Marxist, he's a communist, so he has all kinds of negative ideas about America. And he goes, yeah, but you guys, whatever, exploit and, the this and that and the environment. I'm like, look, Dad, like, bottom line is people just want to live a good life, right? I said, Dad, you have to realize this. Like, where have you lived on the planet Earth where in order for you to be poor, like real poor,
Right.
like the only thing you can do that is to not want to work. Like, tell me in history or anywhere, even right now. And in America, I'm like, look, the only reason you're poor in America is that you actually don't want to work. Maybe you're
Right.
ill. I get that, right? But just like if you're a normal person
Yeah.
with bodily abilities, even if you just didn't finish high school, you're not going to be poor. Like,
Right.
and if you want to work, you will literally get work. There's only 4%, like officially 4% of people that want to work can't work in America. That, you know how low that is?
It's very low.
It's very low.
Especially when you have things like TikTok. Like, for example, I just turn on my phone and I could talk for like 2 hours and make money
Exactly.
on live.
I mean, seriously, think about that, right? Like, think about how crazy that is.
That's insane. It is
That's insane.
And you can say whatever you want on there.
Yeah, you can
Like,
say, and
pretty
you can
much.
without leaving your house, you can make money. Like seriously,
Yeah.
so it's just so when you think about that and you go like 4% unemployment. We started after school academy in Africa, Mozambique, where I grew up, right? So
Yeah.
I go there every 2 years. We help kids in extreme poverty to get out of poverty in Africa.
Yeah. That's awesome.
40% unemployment. 40. Meaning of all the people that can work, 40% can't find it even if they try. You know how desperate that is? How
Yeah.
horrible that is?
Yeah.
Compare that to 4.
Yeah.
Okay? Be grateful,
No, for real.
right? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're saying it because there's a lot of people here that they are like, I can't find a job. It's really hard to find a job. And it's like, turn on your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, do something. Like,
And also, look, if you want to eat and have shelter, a roof, you'll find a job. You see, you just can't find a job that you think you deserve. That's a whole different story. Well, get better.
Right. For
Okay.
real. Because I tell my siblings all the time, especially, my siblings, my audience, if you need to start back at McDonald's, do that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I've started over so many times in life, okay?
Me too.
So many times. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
But
Okay,
you know
at
what's
least you
awesome?
have something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what's awesome? In America, you can totally do that.
Yeah,
And on most countries on earth, it's very hard to do that.
that's true.
It's very hard to do that.
And then to move up, especially in those type of worlds, super easy.
Yep. Yep.
So,
In
yeah.
America, you can literally change your life in a matter of months. And that's never been possible in the history of humanity.
Which is crazy. That is so crazy. We are blessed. We are blessed, America.
Yeah.
We're blessed. Okay. And I'm grateful for it. And it shows definitely in your work and who you are, like your drive and how you're pushing yourself and motivating yourself and others. We appreciate people like you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Taji.
My gosh. Okay. Well, we will go ahead and wrap it up. Christian, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you. You seem like such a sweet soul, somebody who is, has all the drive, all the will, all the power. And I love that. And I wish your business is great. Is there any last things you want to say to the audience or anything like that?
I would say, look, here's an insight that might be helpful.
Mm.
Our natural instinct is to aim somewhere in the middle so that we don't fail. Right? So it's a safe bet.
Yes.
The problem with that choice is that if that's your natural instinct, which it means most people will do the exact same thing. So if you aim for the middle, it's going to be very crowded. If you aim high, most people won't make that choice. So it's actually much easier to make it if you aim high. Because it's less crowded. And I think most people don't understand how that works, but it totally does. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
I've done this over and over again in multiple countries.
Yeah.
If you aim high, it's going to be easier for you to have success. If you aim for mediocre, it's going to be a struggle because most people live in that place.
Right. And that's so teach. Okay. I've been going like this the whole time. Like you're literally he's clocking us. He's clocking me. Cause that's true. I feel like for me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like rich and famous, but I want to be wealthy. And it's like, duh, everybody wants to be wealthy. Like, so how are you gonna stand out if you're just,
Yeah.
But you're motivating me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate you and your energy and being here today. Yeah, you're welcome back whenever you'd like. Go ahead and get the book. What is it on? It's on
Amazon. Yeah. And
Amazon?
You can also, if you want to read some of the stuff that I post, my newsletter is probably the best place to go. ChristianRayFlores.com. So my full name.com. Christian Ray
And that will
Flores.
be in the description below.
Yeah, and that's I drop 2 newsletters a week. It's full of value specifically for people who want to build a personal brand.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and look on there.
You should.
Because, yeah, I need a little bit of work. We're doing it, though. We're doing it. We're making it. Thank you so much, Christian. I really do appreciate you. But, yeah, so that really concludes everything.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Christian, seriously, I do appreciate you. And this is really cool. I'm really going to check that out, too.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's really, I work real hard I have like 12,000 subscribers.
Okay.
So, yeah, and these are valuable posts.
And do you, is it online or you can do online?
Yeah, it's basically you subscribe, ChristianRayFlores.com, and it goes into your inbox twice a week.
Nice.
There's a paid version, there's a free version, basically whatever you choose.
Okay. Now, and then the theme music's gonna play. Blah, 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 blah. And then, here's my intro. Okay, bow, we're live. Okay. This is a mission statement. Period, point blank. Welcome to Sis Hear Me Out, the podcast. This is, oh my gosh. Let me do it again. Period, point, oh my God. Okay. Take 3. Oh, cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. This is really my first interview. Like, I've never
Oh, really?
done this.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, I'm pumped.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Christian.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and good luck. Good luck with your brand.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Where's the thing? Okay. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. My first interview. I look ridiculous right now, but I don't care because that's exciting. I'm excited and I'm happy. But yeah, anyway, thank you. Upcoming